Welcome to one of the most contentious and uncomfortable congressional exchanges you'll see all year. What begins as a question about language and policy quickly erupts into accusations of transphobia, claims of violence, and a jaw-dropping clash between a U.S. senator and a legal scholar under oath. This isn't just a disagreement, it's a live demonstration of how fragile public debate has become when definitions themselves are treated as dangerous. But don't blink, because just when tensions peak, the hearing pivots sharply. Suddenly, the spotlight turns to pregnancy care centers, thousands of clinics across the country, accused by politicians of being fake, deceptive, and dangerous to women's health. Are these legitimate medical providers or political targets? And who gets to decide? This hearing raises massive questions about free inquiry, medical authority, censorship, and voter power after the Dobbs decision. Stick with us, because every exchange here reveals how law, ideology, and language collide and why the stakes couldn't be higher.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all of the witnesses for being here. I want to visit with you, Ms. Matsky, but before I do, I just want to clear one thing up. Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning?
Because,
so we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist
I'm
is
denying that
dangerous.
trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So
pregnant.
you are denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good time in my class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot just in this exchange.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary.
Yep.
Ms. Matsky, let me ask you something.
After an explosive opening exchange, the tone shifts, but the stakes don't. The senator now turns his attention to Ms. Matsky, asking about the services provided at pregnancy care centers. And this is where the record matters. Under oath, she outlines licensed medical professionals, OB/GYN doctors, registered nurses, ultrasounds, prenatal care, and well woman visits. These aren't vague claims. They're specific medical services that fall squarely within accepted healthcare standards. Yet despite this testimony, multiple lawmakers have publicly labeled clinics like hers as fake. That accusation carries serious consequences. Being branded deceptive can lead to regulation, censorship, and restricted access, even when services are legally provided. So here's the critical question for viewers. If licensed medical care is dismissed because of ideology, where does oversight end and suppression begin?
What do you think about the DC politicians now saying that your clinic and the other 3,000 pregnancy care centers around this country are fake? Senator Warner wrote to Google asking them to censor search results for care centers like yours, saying directing women to fake clinics that traffic in misinformation is dangerous to women's health and undermines the integrity of Google's search results. Do you run a fake clinic? I mean, is that what's happening here? You don't provide actual medical care to actual women?
We absolutely do not run a fake clinic, and we have a full medical staff. Like I said, many of our medical professionals have experienced abortion for themselves, including our OB/GYN doctor who used to perform abortions. So our entire medical staff is there for women, whether they choose abortion and walk out the door or whether they choose life for their baby, and we support them for years after that.
Do you think there ought to be an ideological test to be able to get medical care in this country? I mean, should we say to women, well, you have to agree with the DC Democrats' ideology, otherwise you can't go get medical care? Or maybe for you and the physicians who work at your pregnancy care center or the thousands of others across the country, should we impose an ideological test on them and say that, well, you have to agree with the DC Democrats' position on abortion or you can't provide medical care to women? Should we do that in this country?
Absolutely not.
I just want to ask in my few remaining seconds here, Ms. Hawley, the Dobbs decision, as I understand it, I've read it now a number of times, it gives to voters the decision as to what laws should be pertaining to life and pertaining to abortion in all 50 states and other jurisdictions around the country.
This is the legal crossroads of the hearing. The conversation moves beyond clinics and straight into Democratic authority. The senator references the Dobbs decision, a ruling that returned abortion regulation to voters and states, and challenges the push for a nationwide one-size-fits-all policy imposed from Washington. Legally, this isn't a small point. Dobbs fundamentally reshaped federal and state power, and this hearing exposes how contested that shift remains. We also hear polling data introduced suggesting broad opposition to late-term abortion among voters. Whether you agree with the interpretation or not, the underlying issue is clear. Should policy reflect voter consensus, or should it be enforced from the top down? And when lawmakers pressure tech companies to censor information, does that protect public health or undermine democratic choice?
I know that nearly 90% of Americans oppose abortion in the third trimester. The number that would support abortion up to the moment of birth has to be minuscule. It's a horrific policy.
Yeah, I mean, based on the most recent Harvard poll that was just released just a few days ago, less than 10% of voters say that they would support abortion into the final month of pregnancy, and yet that is the law that the DC politicians want to impose on every voter in America, to take this away from the people, take it away from my state, take it away from all the other states and the voters in the states, but impose this law uniformly that is not supported by 90% of the American people. Talk about anti-democratic. At the same time, they want to shut down 3,000 pregnancy care centers all around this country. That's radical. Thank you for being here.
In this hearing, one reality stands out. This wasn't just about abortion or healthcare. It was about power. Power over language, power over information, and power over who gets to decide. From accusations of harm during questioning to debates over medical legitimacy and voter authority, this exchange revealed just how polarized and high stakes these discussions have become. No matter where you stand, hearings like this remind us why transparency, clear definitions, and open debate are essential in a democratic system. When questions are treated as threats and ideology becomes the standard for legitimacy, the consequences reach far beyond one room. Now we want to hear from you. Who do you think made the stronger case in this hearing, and why? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this breakdown helped you understand what was really happening, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more in-depth courtroom and congressional breakdowns.